Are you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Well, welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on Broadway World or over here on the Broadway Podcast Network. Look, we're celebrating. Look, trees are abound. We're here. We're celebrating this season. There's so much going on. There's so much art. There's so much culture. And you need to be taking advantage of it. You need to be supporting all of the great shows that are happening in New York City and all around the world. I heard of a show coming to New York City at one of my favorite places. You know, 54 Below is the place to go and see a show. I even have my own show there on December 26th. So while you're celebrating and in the neighborhood and you're in New York City and you're about to allow yourself and go shopping and be cold and get a hot chocolate and take a moment, get a ticket and then come on down to see. I really wish I stuck with piano. That's what I think of when I have guests like Mia. December 9th at 9:30. Keys on Fire is a show she has done. Rhapsodic is a show that she has done, and she is going to blow your mind with this show at 54 Below. Mia Vassilev is here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Robert. Great to be here.
I love 54 Below, and I love that you are going to be there giving this incredible evening of music for everybody. 54below.org. What is your show? What are you, pianist? What do you do?
I'm a pianist. That's all I do. The 88 keys, that's me. So I'm classically trained, but I crossed into the entertainment side of things. And so I tour a couple of shows that I've created. And the Keys on Fire show is a lot of retro music. So the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and I curate these kind of my favorites, which happen to be a lot of everybody else's favorites. And I put them all in a big program, talk about the pieces a little, some anecdotes, some personal stuff. And, it started as encore pieces because I play like a big Rachmaninoff concerto or something. And, everybody's like, oh, great. And then, an encore piece of like Tico Tico is like, everybody's on fire, like, whoa, what's this? So that's where it kind of grew out of, these encore pieces that kind of happened to fall in the same era of time.
Sure. That is so much fun, Mia. It sounds like, so when you read your bio, which is on the 54 Below website, which you can go to 54below.org right now and get your tickets while we're at it. When we read your bio, the part that makes it sound so much fun to me is you say, it says she's Liberace and Jerry Lee Lewis wrapped up in a ball gown as Miami said. I mean, that's about exciting. So this is not a stuffy piano show.
I don't know about that. Oh no, it's not at all. And that's why part of the reason I named it Keys on Fire, because when you say piano show, a lot of people automatically think, Brahms, Beethoven, Chopin, which is great, but that's not what it is. It's a very dynamic, kind of unique show because some of the transcriptions are mine. Some are other transcriptions. I found it kind of like created it into this whole show that kind of flows thematically a bit. We've got some Latin hits, American songbook hits, some, it's all piano style, very, very fiery. So it's some rock and roll. We have a little polka in the end, which is super fun. Everybody's always kind of like on their feet with the polka. And polkas make me giggle. So that's just kind of like, I have to have a polka on the program. And so a lot of different genres that are crossed over and decades hopping around. So
it's going to be so much fun. What I love about 54 Below, everyone, I say this every time someone comes on to talk about it. You get a little Caesar salad, you get a little grown drink. You're not even 100 feet away from the stage. It's Broadway's literal living room, and you're going to be right there on that beautiful piano. And it's going to be such a magical night. Who do you hope comes to your shows? Who is it? A date night? Is it a good family night? Like, what do you hope to see when you walk on stage?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've had audiences of all sorts. So, from of all ages. And, the ones that really have a deep connection are the ones that remember these older tunes for the 40s, 50s, 60s. But I've noticed like an interest in kind of the younger generations. Like, I don't know, I have a deep connection to it, and I'm not a senior, yet. But it's just a good tune is a good tune. And so it's just a lot of fun for everybody. So I hope it's an interesting question because, every audience is so different. I've played for, kids in the audience and like centenarians and everybody in between. So it's super fun for everybody.
Well, I'm looking forward to people getting your tickets and everybody get a ticket and be there. So for you come from
I come from Kansas. That's right. Wizard of Oz.
Out of $7.99 after you left, it was $800. I guess you left and then it's dropped.
Yeah, some people stick, and then some people go on out. Actually, a lot of my childhood friends, they're there. It's kind of like one of those places in the Midwest. People tend to stay. It's like generations are kind of rooted there, and that's part of the groundedness, I guess, if that's a word. People are very grounded. Things don't change a lot, but I like a lot of change and dynamic and uniqueness. So that I just went further and further east until I hit Miami.
Do you visit Kansas? Do you go back?
I every now and then. I mean, not that frequently, but I do every now and then. So and it's a different perspective after being through everything.
Yes.
So yeah, it's fun though. It's a place that I guess I can appreciate it more and more. So it's a very very genuine place, I'd call it. People they stay the same, and it's very consistent.
So how did you find the piano, or how did the piano find you?
Well, we had one, I guess is the answer. We had a piano. I have older siblings. They were all quite a bit older. So I would get dragged to their piano lessons, and I just kind of did it, because that's what the siblings do. They just go along and they do it. And, they weren't as good or passionate about it, and I just kept doing it. I thought, wow, I really love this. This is cool. I just never stopped. Honestly, it's an interesting question too. We just, had the piano lessons going on, like Midwest thing to do. And I went further and further, and then did some competitions. And eventually my college professor saw me at a competition and said, hey, do you want to come on a full scholarship and do this? And my mind was blown, because I thought, wow, this is a career, like to play the piano. And so I went on, got degree after another degree, and here I am. So I just never stopped, I guess.
So it's one thing, this is the part that I find the most fascinating, Mia. It's one thing to say, I'm going to study piano. It's another thing to be good enough to go to college for piano and get degrees for the piano and I don't know what, I think everyone's parents are probably like, oh my goodness, my kid wants to be a musician and they're going to be homeless forever. But then it's one thing to say, I'm going to play in a symphony, I'm going to accompany a singer, I'm going to join a rock band. It's another thing to say, I'm going to be a piano act. Like, you are an act around the world.
Right. This is, it's kind of a morphine thing, because out of college, it's kind of like, okay, what do I do with this? So there was teaching, and I always enjoyed the playing aspect. I was like, I don't want to teach, I've taught at a college, I've taught, along the way, but this was, my passion is in the playing. So I picked up a lot of opera accompanying, and, because it's always different work, varied work, interesting, and of course the dynamics and emotion in an opera company are crazy. So that's all fun, because I've done a lot of opera companies, and now it provides a lot of comedic material for the shows. I mean, a lot of drama in there, a lot of musical theater, but the shows came out of this classical. I would solo with orchestras. I came to Miami with New World Symphony. That was actually my reason for coming here, as that position was the piano part, which is like this horrendous, you play something impossible for 18 measures, and then you wait for 50,000 measures, and you come and play. It's just crazy. So all of these experiences combined, it's funny, because it came full circle back to what I really loved as a kid that got me passionate about it, was like when I'd hear this kind of like substantial Liberace stuff, because it takes the chops, but it's also super fun, like the melodies, and it gets people going, and it's about the audience and about them having fun. So, I've done a lot of this horrendous, difficult conservatory, training and everything, but in the end, it's the passion, it's what you convey. So that's the journey.
It's incredible. What an incredible journey. While we're talking, your website and Instagram is all the information is below. You can click the link in the description as well, so you can find out information. And remember, we're talking, you got to get your tickets December 9th. You're not going to want to miss it. It's the perfect night, perfect date out, perfect time to go out and see a show. So when you decided to be a solo piano player, and you have all this conservatory training, and then you decide to say, like, look, I'm going to do some of these oldie songs, I'm going to put together some pop music, some different styles. Is there a part of you that feels like there's a different work? Like, not everything's for everybody. So classical people they might say, what happened to Mia? And then other people are like, this is the best class music I've ever seen. So how do you put all the noise and critics away and do what Mia really wants to do?
Exactly. That's a cool point, because there is that kind of like, classical crowd. I don't want to call it snobbiness, but yeah, like exclusivity. Like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And I've never been kind of like fully settled into that mindset, because it's like, yeah, everybody does what they do, but to have fun doing it instead of having a heart attack doing it, and to convey to the audience, like a lot of audiences, they're just, unless they're an academic, the Shostakovich just goes over that, so I think it's like finding what's right for you. For me, this was it. This is like, oh, this is unbelievable, because I can do what I love, and I know what people love, because I put these programs together, like tweak them, take them to smaller venues, and like over time it becomes what it is. Then I set it up into a program. So that's the story. There is a bit of a divide, I guess. I still do the occasional concerto or classical gig, but my focus is on these shows now, which to me is it's satisfying, because you're conveying transferring an enthusiasm to other people, and you can't do that unless you love it. You just can't. So
I love it. It sounds such a fun and exciting night. So for you, how do you study and practice? Like, what is the routine of a pianist in terms of staying on your skills? Do you play all the time? Do you still do, different exercises and activities? Do you warm up like a singer would warm up? What's it like?
I do, yeah, and depending what show I'm doing, because I have a few, like I have two big ones always kind of like rotating around that I play with ensembles, and I just started a new one this season called Rhapsodic that has a big Gershwin tribute that Liberace's orchestrator finished for me, because he's in Florida. He saw me in a show in Boca, and he's like, "Do you like Gershwin? I started this piece for Lee." I was like, "Lee, Liberace." So I based this other show off of like a chunk of a Gershwin tribute, and then put some more 80s, 90s like tunes in there. And so yeah, it's an ever changing thing. I kind of derailed, I think. I forgot the original.
That was fascinating. Do you warm up? What is your routine?
Oh, so the routine, it's constant playing. Like I do tend to work, like as far as technically just kind of like clean up patches of things are the exercises. Not like I go through the book of Hannon anymore, because I kind of know what needs to be done particular to each program and what I'm doing. So, and then I play a lot of all sizes venues. So that in itself is kind of the performance practice. It's all that mental exercise, which when you're studying, it's more, the practice room is so separate from like your performance. But when you play often, then it kind of meshes together, and you're, the nerves are gone. You're just, because you're doing so much of it. So that's interesting too.
It's so exciting. So are you one of those people that, like, if you get invited to a dinner party and there's a piano, are they going to throw you on that piano everywhere you go?
Yeah, usually if there is a piano, so I tend to, like, if that's gonna happen, I have kind of like a 1.5 drink minimum, because I'm like, I don't want to get this nickname. I had a colleague in conservatory, and it was like the worst nickname for a pianist. They called her Mittens, because she like mittens, like she was wearing mittens because in the opera crowd which can be quite cruel sometimes, but the opera crowd called her Mittens because she just wasn't the most technically accurate on some of these things. I was like, that's so mean. So I'm like, guys, if I'm going to play something, like, you can't ask me after like more than a couple of drinks. I don't want to be like be called Mittens.
Not be a Mittens here, everybody. Listen, we're not doing that. So I love that. That's hysterical. I get that life as a singer. People that sing, it's like, will you sing at my wedding? Will you sing at my party?
Oh yeah.
So that's fascinating. So you bring up Liberace, and Liberace was famous for his showmanship because of the clothes and the outfit and the show. Even though he was sitting at a piano and did not sing, he still put on showmanship. So how does a piano player put on a showman show? Mm-hmm. You're not Elton John, you're not Billy Joel, you're not going to sing and play. So right. What do you do to give us the show of the showmanship? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a great question. The show comes from, and actually, it's a skill that I kind of had to acquire when I was putting this together, not associated with classical, but the skill is being able to play and like interact with the audience or like, catch their eye or like, give that the emotions of it. So it's kind of doing two things that we're playing and then you're involving, it's like you're drawing them in to it. So you have to be able to kind of do that without looking at the keys the whole time, which, pianists, we know what we're playing because we've practiced it. So, but it still takes some getting used to. Like, for example, I have an audience involving piece, which is a boogie woogie. It's called the Liberace Boogie because he did it a lot too. So there's this section where it's like, going through the beat and then the audience comes in with like a hey, and I cue the hey. So, sometimes they're not even in a straight line. It's like a circular thing. So I have to be creative with like the cue, but I literally have to spin on the bench, cue them, and then get back to the keys very quickly. So, there's that. And then the speaking in between, which I did very little of that at first when I was first launching these shows, because as a classical pianist, it's like, you don't talk, you put the hair back and you go and you play and then you leave quickly and talk about what went wrong or whatever. But with that show, then, it's involving where I speak to the audience a bit, have some anecdotes or some, little personal pieces of stories, which I found like the more I talked, the more they were like, oh, like I found it hard to believe they were interested in that, which they're funny little stories, or about the background of where a piece came from, like House of the Rising Suns, like an Appalachian tune, or, like Miser Lou came from this Greek Orthodox melody from like 1900. Like, it's kind of like just little bits, interspersed. So that's part of the show also, just kind of like the entertainment in between the pieces, like, hey, this little story.
Absolutely. We want to hear the background. We want the inside scoop that you're going to give us about why you picked these songs. And you also look gorgeous in the pictures. You also great costume, great outfits, great gowns, great moments. It is a fancy evening for sure. I think that what you're doing is so important because you're making, music and classical music or these songs that you make them accessible to people who are not from that world. I don't have a background in classical music. I don't have a background. I wouldn't be interested always to go to an instrumental show. I would feel not smart enough for it, Mia, but you make it accessible to everybody to fall in love with the music you play.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that's the idea, to have it be fun and not, like I think there's a stigma around, classical. When you say piano, the mind automatically goes to classical piano, which, sometimes it can be a snooze fest. Like, I mean, I appreciate it as a classical pianist, but I know, other people that are not going to want to go to something like that because it's not so dynamic. It's like you're hearing the music and it's live. So the sound waves are, washing over you. It's not like you're playing a recording, but still, like, this is, I have to explain to people. And that's why I called it Keys on Fire. Like, it's not, you're not going to be in for an evening of Brahms and Chopin, and it's not that. It's very fun. So
I love that. It's going to be a fun time. I know you have a bunch of other shows. We're going to have more music in 2026. We're going to have more concert dates. You're booking them as we speak.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, it's kind of booking season, so it'll be out there. The other show, Rhapsodic, will be out there, and I did a tour of this Keys on Fire recently through all over, kind of some places in the Southwest, the Northeast, the Midwest, and that was last season. So we're, full speed ahead, and wherever wants to hear it, I love to play it.
That's it. So the best place to look for you, we could go to your Instagram. We could also go to your website. All the information is available. Right. And then on the 9th. So if you are looking for something fun to do this coming week and you're looking for a place to be and somewhere great to see a show, 54below.org is the place to see. And what's it like for you to be so intimate? Like, the front row there, they're practically able to touch a B flat right from the seat. I mean, this is a space that everybody is right up there with you. So they're going to be, there's no relationship like a show at 54 Below because it's so intimate.
I'm very excited. This is the first time I'm playing there. And I'm joined by percussionist Gary Weiss, by the way. I wanted to say that. He's fabulous drummer. So I can't wait to do this show with him in this place. So it's going to be super fun.
Come to Broadway's Living Room, everybody. Go to 54below.org. Get your tickets right now, and then follow me on all social media. Happy holidays. Congratulations. Break legs. Have a blast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
My pleasure. I hope you come back and talk to us next time. Come on, anytime.
Love to. Love it.